clarified by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, a window of economic and social growth occurs when the working age population becomes larger than people of non-working age, making significantly higher growth rates possible as the state faces fewer costs associated with children and the elderly. But for Africa to realize this advantage, it needs two things: investment to create good jobs and young people with the skills to fill them. However, young African entrepreneurs are challenged by inadequate startup capital funding, lack of exposure to propel training, experience and knowledge of industrial trends, and inadequate connection to industry stakeholders. It is for this reason that stakeholders in various industries organize forums to provide platforms for young people to learn, network, pitch business ideas, and contest for startups funding. To see us through this discussion tonight is Calvin Jodisi, the President and CEO of African Summit on Entrepreneurship and Innovation, ASENTI, entrepreneur, youth mentor. He's also worked as an ambassador, social media expert, and he's also the founder of Change Mind, Change Future organization. Thank you so much for showing up, Calvin.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joanne.
So,
yes,
maybe you can just start us off by telling us what ASENTI is all about.
Yeah, so ASENTI actually stands for Africa Summit on Entrepreneurship and Innovation. It's a platform that brings young people from across Africa to discuss matters entrepreneurship, matters innovation, and also different aspects. We started back in 2014, and so we've been doing the conference mainly 2015, 2016, and then 2017, and so far we've been able to reach 2 countries. So last year actually we were in Uganda, and then this year we're back in Kenya. Hopefully next year we'll be going to Ghana or Ethiopia. So our focus is more on how do we have great conversation, and also how do we link entrepreneurs in different countries as well. Yeah.
So with the various emergence of so many hubs that are doing the same thing as you do, what makes you as different, and what did you come to feel as far as young investors are concerned in terms of the gap?
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many, like, as you said, there's so many hubs, doing the entrepreneurial programs and all that, which is really, really good, because as you can see, Africa is really rising, and especially Kenya being like one of the hubs in Africa in terms of entrepreneurship, and being one of the countries that is actually mostly investor attractive, because so many people actually are coming to invest in Kenya in terms of investing in startups and all those kind of stuff. But I mean, what we bring unique is we bring the aspect of diversity, because our ASENTI looks at connecting as many young people as possible, and from across different aspects of life, and also different countries as well. So for us, we're actually more regional than, more Africa-wise, or Pan-African than more local. Yeah.
So with many young people getting problems like having no capital to maybe implement these ideas, how can entrepreneurship be harnessed to benefit the youth of this nation?
Yeah, so number one thing, what I always say, Yvonne, is, I mean, capital is not a problem. There's so many people sitting here, there's so many companies, there's so many venture capital that are willing actually to put money. But one of the key things that we've actually not realized is that capital is not very important, but the most important thing actually is capacity and the skill. So today you want to run a business, but you actually don't have an idea how do you run that particular business. You don't know what are some of the necessities in that particular business. And so what is lacking actually is the capacity. And so that's also something that the gap that we are trying to fill as ASENTI, and what we're looking at even after this year's conference is going to be happening November 8th and 9th at USAU. That is next week.
Let me cut you short there. We will be talking about that a bit later. Let's talk about the 2015 summit. I believe it was the first.
Yes.
It was the first launch.
Yes.
What was the experience like, and how did young people embrace it?
Yes, so the 2015 summit actually was quite was quite good. Although it was being our first time, it had a lot of challenges, and definitely we didn't have so many people coming from different countries. I think we only had like around 5 countries that came, and we only had, I think, only three businesses were able to be impacted, because we got, I think, around 5 pitched, and only 3 were selected to be incubated and supported with mentorship and all that. But it was a good experience, being that we were doing this thing for the first time, and it was also a good experience in terms of even getting partners and getting people to embrace it, not only in Kenya but actually in other countries as well. Yeah.
So the coming 2018 summit slated for 8th and 9th of November.
Yeah.
We as young people, and any person that has an idea and maybe they want to get skills on how to implement this idea, what are we expecting from this particular summit?
Yeah, so this particular summit actually is really, really good, Yvonne, and it's one really, really amazing one, because we're actually going to have delegates from over 20 countries, and we have people coming from different parts of Africa and even other parts of the world as well. And so this year we also running something called ASENTI Awards, where we'll be actually recognizing some of the best innovative ideas, and then connecting them also with the mentors, and seeing how well we can be able to support them even after the conference. So if anybody is watching this and you think like, hey, you have this innovative idea, or you have some things already working on, so you can just go to our platform, which is www.asenti.org, and go to the award section and actually register to get awarded. And our team will select like the best 10 businesses, and those are the ones actually going to be pitching at the conference as well. And also we're going to be having business workshops during the conference, and also a few business clinic as well. So we invited some of the best business mentors. So during the conference, you can go to the business clinic and you can ask questions, you can talk about your business, what are some of the challenges you face, and they're actually going to help you kind of close some of the gaps and help you kind of bring some kind of healing to your business aspect. Yeah.
Apart from online registering, what other requirements do I need to satisfy to fit for the summit, or to qualify for this particular summit?
Yes. So basically, number one, you need to be somebody who's passionate about entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is the way to go. And right now, we cannot rely on either government to give us jobs, because government can only provide very little amount of job, and then we can also rely only on the private sector, which can also provide this particular amount. So we actually going to enhance that spirit of like, okay, let's create our own own businesses and all that. So number one, key number one is you have to be passionate about business, or number two, you actually maybe doing some business, or you've started something, or you just want to come and learn maybe to start a business or something like that.
Talk to us a bit about the 3-day boot camp at ASENTI.
Yeah. So we're going to have just as I mentioned, the conference runs for 2 days, but I think we're going to have like 1 day boot camp for the people who've been selected to pitch their ideas. So these people are just going to be receiving. We're going to take them through things like marketing, just to be able to know how do you make a good pitch, just a brief, how do you make a good pitch, because they'll be pitching at the conference during that. But the program of the conference is that so we're going to have keynote, we're going to have a keynote address, and we invited former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka is going to be one of our keynote speakers, and we have speakers from different parts of Africa as well. And we're going to have sessions on healthcare, we're going to have sessions on agribusiness, we're going to have sessions on fintech, and also we're going to have TED style kind of talk. So we're going to have some of the best experts in different aspects. So we invited, one of our speakers is Peter Nduati, who is one of the best entrepreneurs in Kenya as well. We invited also some of the speakers from outside Kenya as well, some of the speakers from Vilgro as well. So it's quite really impact 2 days. That's going to be really good training, and then at the end we're going to be giving certificates, because we believe that once you attend the ASENTI Summit, it's a 2-day very packed. You actually have learned some knowledge that you can be able to share.
Okay, just as we wind up, having worked with so many young people, what advice would you give them when it comes to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so one advice that I always give to young people is that one of the key things is that if you identify a particular thing that you're passionate about and you see it as a solution, please go ahead and start something around it. So number one, as an entrepreneur, don't look at the money, look at the solution that you're providing. So if you know that there's a need on a particular thing and you know you can be able to provide that solution, go ahead and provide it, and then the money will come in later. Number two, and that's the most important thing, is be consistent in what you do. So don't start today. You want to start probably maybe you want to start a coffee shop today, and then tomorrow is like, oh, the coffee is not doing so well, so maybe you go to a cloth business, and the next time the cloth business is not doing so well. The key thing is consistency. If you're consistent in that particular thing, probably maybe for the first year of the journey it won't work, for the second year, and most likely for the third year you're going to break even. Yeah.
Let's talk about government support. Do you expect any support from the government?
I mean, so definitely, as we work a lot with the government, and we work with mostly government parastatals. So right now we're working with NetFund, and NetFund supports a lot of innovation that are more geared to environmental related. And actually, they're going to be in the conference. And what they're also looking at is if any young people have anything that is environmental and is innovative, they're actually going to support that. So we work with NetFund. We're actually also working with the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, which is very, very keen in terms of trying to help you in your business so that people cannot make counterfeit products of your particular product. So they're going to be there. We have KEBS as well, so quite a number of government parastatals are going to be there, including the county government. So we've invited almost all the county governments, and they're going to be there. They're going to also be presenting some of the things that they have, and so we want it to be a day of, yes, we have so many delegates coming from outside, over 50 delegates coming from outside Kenya, but also now we have our own. So it's just going to be a great platform to network and even meet potential investors as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing up. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, and thanks for inviting me.
An African Summit on Entrepreneurship and Innovation, ASENTI, is a forum that brings SMEs, startups, and different stakeholders for an intensive interaction, networking, and training on entrepreneurship and innovation from across Africa. The summit brings together top leaders in the industries to share knowledge on business and innovations. Really interesting opportunities for young people to tap in and get their dreams going. Thank you so much for staying with Y254 Business Highlights. My name is Yvonne Anyula. Coming up next is The Buzz, so don't you go away.